I want to know a bit more about yourself, and you're the person behind the idea, and you're the person behind Dronaar company.
Well, it started off with me starting a company. I think it was almost 3 years ago, wanting to make drone movies. I was making movies for myself and my family just as a hobby. I was 17, 18 years old when I started that, 16 maybe even. And I started flying drones for a local biking club, actually, bicycle club, where they bought a drone and I was flying it around, making, publicity content for them to get new members and so on. And it was really fun, and that sparked an interest in me. So at a point, in connection to that, I was invited to Italy with a traveling agency. To make a movie for them down there for 2 weeks. It was a really fun trip, and actually I made a lot of money on it. And I began to think that, hey, maybe I can actually earn money on doing this. So when I was going to here to Aarhus to study, my dad asked me why I didn't just start my own company, because it was the perfect study job. I could manage my hours myself and so on. So I did, and we began to make these commercial movies for both big, small, and medium-sized enterprises and companies. And we were flying the drone, and it was great. I became a certified pilot at a point, and that was good. But at some point, I wanted to do something more scalable, and I looked at the digital world, and I could see businesses like Airbnb, Go More, Just Eat, Hungry, Worksome. Making these digital automized platforms, connecting people and using all the resources that we have in the society. And I thought, why don't we do that with drones? Because I experienced that as I talked to you earlier about that, there really isn't that kind of development that you want in the market. The pilots are not getting enough jobs, and the customers don't know how to find the pilots and what to use them for. And I think that's a problem that we can use, and a problem that we can solve. So that's how I came up with the idea and looked at the possibilities to connect people. And I mean, the idea about just using all the resources in the society is really interesting, because I'm studying political science, and so I know how globalized the world is. But despite the fact that the world is so globalized, we're still not, using all of the resources that we have. So by connecting the world even more digitally, I think it's really interesting to develop even more physical resources digitally.
I like this conversation because we have a part about business disruption, we have a part about how the employment industry is changing, freelancing industry, on-demand economy, sharing economy. But I want to know, what type of drones do you actually use?
Well, in my own company, we started using the DJI Inspire, both the DJI Inspire 1 and DJI Inspire 2. It's a drone that is it weighs around, I think it's 5 kilograms, 3.4 kilograms maybe. It's like this size, and you can really get it out of the bag quickly and into the air very quickly, and it's flying at a good speed, and it has a great camera, and you can change the camera on it and so on. So that's really a drone that is being used a lot for videographing and photographing. But also before that, I used the Phantom 4, a little smaller white drone, also from DJI.
The DJI company is more or less dominating the global market.
Really dominating. I mean, they've been partnering up with companies all over the world, also going into enterprise drones and making them enterprise partners. And that's a really interesting part, because normally you would think that a specialized drone in, for example, inspections would need to be built from the ground up in some garage somewhere. But actually, these DJI enterprise partners talk to the customers how they can solve their problems, and they actually specially make the drones as it was from the DJI factory. So they get all the guarantees and so on that it's working, and they get their own drone, just their drone, specially made for them. So that's really an interesting thing about, again, disrupting a market, because they are actually specially building drones for the companies and for the customers directly.
They are from China. DJI is a company from China, and they have been quite a while in the market by now.
Yeah.
What do we know about this company?
Well, it was started. It's a connection to this. I think it was started by a guy, actually building drones in his own garage, and his friends asked him if it was possible that he could build something for them. And I mean, it was in a time where drones was. Normally you've been just flying these remotely controlled small helicopters around your living room because it was funny, but suddenly people started to think about putting something on these small flying helicopters. And
instead of below.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really, in the beginning it was actually just miniature helicopters with a rotor in the back and the rotor on the top, just as you know it. So he was beginning to build these specially made drones for his friends, and he was thinking about how he could actually build a business on this. And he saw a demand just like we did, and he started a company, and now it's, I mean, a global company. They own, as I said, I think 75% of the market, and it's huge. DJI is everywhere in the drone industry.
I want to go back now, let's leave DJI on the side, and I want to go back to your company, to your startup, Dronaar. And the best part of the name is the two A's with an R from Aarhus, because Aarhus is very important for the development of your company. It's a city in Denmark that of course, the whole of the country has a beautiful ecosystem for digital transformation companies to thrive. But there are many things that are special about this city that have allowed you and your team specifically to grow and develop this idea. What do you think are those elements of the city especially?
Well, I mean, first of all, 15% of all of the population in Aarhus are students. And that's really the get-go to having an ecosystem filled with new knowledge and interested people that are curious on gathering this new knowledge. So a big part of having this company is actually that I'm studying political science, and maybe that doesn't make sense, but we are the company, because of my studies, the company is able to have a place in what you in English call the AU incubator here in Aarhus. It's actually an incubator for companies that is owned or is under the university. So they are welcoming startups and companies in all shapes and sizes into the incubator. I think we're almost 50 startups in the house right now, and we get a free office space and a mentor, actually 3 mentors. And we really get that synergy and sparing and networking with all the other companies as well. So the fact that we can get that for free as a practicality is really great. But I mean, also, as I talked to you about this yesterday, the university is everywhere in the city. We have students coming and going all over the city, and we're 2,000
students per semester come into the city from different places of the world.
Yeah, and the fact that as you say, from all over the world is also a key thing that I was going to mention, because actually today 2 new interns started in our company, and one of them is from Somalia and one of them is from India. Nadim and Yasin, and I mean, the fact that we can get resources actually from abroad. They're studying here in Denmark, of course, but the fact that we have that connection to the outer world is really also a key factor. So also in Aarhus, compared to other Danish cities, I think is that we really have a focus on this entrepreneurship, also from the public sector. I mean, the fact that the university is encouraging people to start their own business during their study in such a great way is really it's amazing. I think it could be even more, but the fact that they are just doing it is really great. And actually, numbers from the university itself is showing that people doing elite sports and people having a startup besides their company is actually doing better in like finishing their studies quicker and with a better average on their grades than normal students just having their study. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And you also mentioned that you got some encouragement from your own father when you were still in high school.
Yeah.
And he said, well, if there's a market for this that you like to do, you should go that way and you should try to create your own company. So you got encouragement from your family, also support from the educational institutions and the educational system, and a city also all the time kind of promoting this entrepreneurship and leadership mindset. That's a very Danish combination there that allows companies like you to thrive. All these factors that make Danish have this ecosystem for companies to thrive also has a lot to do with the work-life balance culture and the flat organizational structures within the companies that allow people like you, very young people, to lead and grow companies effectively and successfully. So what makes this, why is this work-life balance and flat organizational structure important?
It's important because it encourages young people to, again, to dare. I mean, normally when you think about the company boss or the CEO, he's sitting here straight up with a suit on and everything, and has the hair laid back and really looking spot on. But in Denmark, I don't think that you need to look that way. I'm not.
Yeah, we had the discussion before the interview in which you told me, should I wear a shirt?
Yeah.
Maybe should I wear something more formal? And I told you, come with your t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's the person who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's also a part of the security here in Denmark, because when you think of a work-life balance, you are actually splitting up your own life in two parts. You have your work and you have your life. And I mean, for me, that's a weird thought, because you only have one life. And actually, I'm stealing my words from a Danish guy called Morten Albæk right now. But he's a huge inspiration for me, because he's saying that you only have one life, and no matter if you're working or you're playing with your children or you're studying, it's still one life. And you can't just split up your life in different parts and saying that this part I do not want to do, I'm going to work and then I'm going home. The work is also a part of your life. So when I'm going to work, I am passionate about my company and I'm passionate about working with the people that I am employee and my partners, and that's also a part of my life. So, and I think the motivation for doing that is that flat structure that you mentioned, because in Denmark, yes, you have a boss in a normal company, and of course there is some kind of hierarchy, but still, I mean, in most of the Danish companies, you will always have something to say, and you will always have a place to come out with your opinions. And I mean, creating these startups for young people and students in Denmark are really encouraging them to be a part of a new system, or this tendency in Denmark to make the structure flat and saying, hey, we can do something as well. And I mean, it's a part of that safe system. Saying that the life needs to be secure and you can dare to take these chances is a big part of it. So yeah, I think that's why.